What's up, everybody? It's your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to That's a Shoot. Today is the Hell in a Cell prediction show. So let's go ahead and just jump right into the action. We're going to start with The Miz versus Otis, made last night on Friday Night Smackdown. The winner becomes the Money in the Bank Championship. Now, this has been going on for probably about a month and a half now. It was a feud between The Miz and Otis. The Miz, quote unquote, calling his friends at the USA Network to take Mandy Rose away from Otis, and then conning Otis into getting him beat down, and and then suing him and everything like that. And last night's trials was a little bit, it was a little campy, a little campy, a little hokey, not really good. If we're gonna clown the Dinner Debonair, now it was not as bad as the Dinner Debonair, but it was not good either. Not a good segment. Anyway, then we have to clown this one as well. So not really good. Um, I'm not sure who is going to walk away with this here, because they put they gave the Money to Make contract on Otis. I guess that's because it was that's something fun to do and something interesting to do. So I'm not sure what they're necessarily going to think of. And even they've broken up Heavy Machinery, so obviously they want Otis to be a singles guy, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have broken up Heavy Machinery. So why would you put the bank Money to Bank contract on the Miz? Now, I guess you could say you would do that because it's easy for the Miz has already cashed in one. If we would try to cash in another one, it's easier for him to lose. You probably don't want Otis. If Otis isn't going to be a big star, you probably don't want Otis losing to Roman Reigns. But The Miz can lose to McIntyre or Orton, whoever it could be, who is the WWE champion. So I guess you could go that way. That being said, I don't know. To me, it just doesn't make sense. I think this is just to wrap up the entire thing in a bow. And I think I'm going to pick Otis retains his Money in the Bank contract. The next match, Jeff Hardy versus Elias. Now this is in a bit of great continuity. Um, they have had Elias come back off of his injury to attack Jeff Hardy. Whereas last we saw Elias, he was hit by Jeff Hardy in his car. Now, nothing has been solved, right? It could have been Baron Corbin, it could have been Sheamus. We talk about the red hair in the car. Nothing was solved in it. So you can understand why Elias is going after Jeff Hardy. He really thinks that Jeff Hardy took moments off of his career. Um, so yeah, I think this one is going to be a good one. This should be a nice, good brawl. Um, to me, I think Jeff Hardy. You know, I know they want to continue on with Jeff Hardy, but they want to do some more stuff with Jeff Hardy. I think when whoever wins tonight might tell you about Mike, who wins the WWE Championship. Not just saying that if Elias wins, then he's next in line for Drew, or if Jeff wins, he'll be in line with Randy will win. But if Jeff does win, Randy needs some baby faces to face, because there aren't a lot. There aren't. Jeff's the top one, Drew, but you'd already have 3 matches with Drew, and there wouldn't be a lot to take over for Randy Orton. I guess you could say that's Keith Lee. I guess you could always do Braun Strowman if Braun Strowman isn't. If he's babyface. Excuse me. It's Jeff Hardy. And I guess Ricochet. So I guess there are some people you can do for Randy Orton, but it might just be a tail. You never know. With that being said, I would think that they would, I would think, unless they're going to go down a way that path that I can't see, I think they're going to give the match to Jeff Hardy. I think here, yeah. But yeah, I would think that Jeff Hardy wins and beats Elias. The SmackDown Women's Championship determined inside Hell in a Cell. Bayley versus Sasha Banks. Now Sasha Banks is 0-2 inside Hell in a Cell, losing the first women's one to Charlotte Flair, and losing the second one to Becky Lynch. Now in her third attempt, she's going after her former best friend Bayley. Bayley, a tremendous one, over a year holding the SmackDown Women's Championship, two-time Women's Tag Team Championship, the new attitude, Bayley, everything. I can't wait to see the documentary after Hell in a Cell about Bayley. I can't wait to watch that. Usually the documentaries come out before as well, but football's on that, so I won't be watching it. But I watch it afterward. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they do. Um, Charlotte and Charlotte and Sasha's first one was, I thought, was pretty good. Uh, the one last year with Becky Lynch, I thought was really good. So we'll see what they can do tonight. Um, boy, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Again, you would think that maybe Sasha Banks would beat Bayley, you know, for this. But this is a feud that also can. There's so much more longevity into it. There's so much more longevity. Um, that I do think that this can take it to WrestleMania. And you know what? This feud also really doesn't need a championship. This feud doesn't need a championship. They could go so many ways about it. This why, these the, 4 of these 5 matches it's unpredictable. It really is. You don't know. So it's so hard to predict. But I'm going to say that Sasha Banks walks out with a Hell in a Cell victory, and she defeats Bayley, becoming the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Our second Hell in a Cell match puts the WWE Championship on the line as Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. And listen, I've said this. I've said this again. To me, this makes no sense. This should actually be Randy Orton defending his WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre inside Hell in a Cell. I'm not sure why Randy Orton did not win. If you want to say understand why he didn't win at SummerSlam, it's okay. Yeah, I totally get that. And especially the way he won, especially with what they were talking about, you never see it coming. Not only with Seth, but with Roman Reigns. I was into that. Okay, but then when you make it an ambulance match, the Clash of Champions, there's no doubt that, and again, I can understand the things that the way they did it, and again, I would have had Randy Orton beaten, but they didn't, so then that's fine. But then the way they had Drew McIntyre beat Randy Orton, there should have been no way that Randy Orton got a title match again this quickly. You know, So so now I'm not sure. I'm not sure here, because if Randy Orton loses here, he will have lost 4 consecutive pay-per-view matches. He will have lost 3 consecutive WWE title championship matches against Drew McIntyre. And then where do you go with Randy Orton from here? Right? Where do you go from here? Does he feud with a Jeff Hardy? Does he feud with a Keith Lee? Does he feud with a Ricochet? He's going to need some wins, to build him up, build him back up. So what's the deal? So then again, I mean, But if you put the title on Randy Orton, does Drew McIntyre you get another rematch? Does he get it at Survivor Series or TLC, or does he get it sometime on Raw? So we gonna have a fourth match. Is Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre? So who knows, man? Who knows? Again, it's I picked Randy Orton the last two times. I'm going to pick him again, just because to me it's the only thing that could happen. It makes sense. Is you have Randy Orton, and again, I do think that they are looking for that Randy Orton versus Edge main event I Quit match at WrestleMania, especially now with the rumors of it not being in Hollywood, with it not being, they're going to move it back to Tampa. So fans can be there. Um, that you may have, Randy Orton coming there with the championship so that he can, so Edge can beat him. So we'll wait and see, but I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna pick Randy Orton. But I'm not very confident in the pick. And finally, the Universal Heavyweight Championship on the line in the third Hell in a Cell match: Roman Reigns versus Jay Uso. The I Quit match. Last night we found out that if Roman Reigns quits, he loses the Universal Championship. Is not the tribal chief anymore, and really he loses his identity. But if Jay Uso says I quit, then he must become Roman Reigns, basically his servant. He must do his dirty work. He must live his, he must say that he is the tribal chief, and if he doesn't, then Jay's family and Jimmy's family both will be exiled from the Anoa'i and the Fatu family. The Samoan dynasty now involves Jay and his family and Jimmy and his family. So I think that's incredible. I think that's incredible. Um, it's probably not the stakes that he said it was. That he tried to make it out to be. But still, I think those are some really big stakes to be put on the family. And then what you can really see here, they really could do here is they could have Roman beat Jay Uso, and Jay Uso quits, but he won't say that he's the tribal chief. And then what we see is that Jay and Jimmy are excommunicated from the family, and then in 2 or 3 weeks we can have Jimmy and Jay come out and I'm talking about, man, nobody talks to us, nobody doesn't answer our phone calls, nobody does this, nobody does that. And they come up to Roman and they say, Roman, we need back in the family. And Roman says, you know what you gotta do, Jack. Acknowledge me as the tribal chief. And then they acknowledge him as the tribal chief, and then they move on. And then Jimmy and Jay become Roman's, lackeys. Then I think that's a really good thing they can do. I think that's a really good thing they can do. So I'm looking forward to that. I think this could also maybe, could involve some blood loss here from Jey Uso. I could see that to make it even, make it even a bigger time thing so that against Jay, make Jay give Jay even more sympathies than they wanted, um, than they want to. But yeah, so this is going to be fantastic, I think, and this could be a, as some people stated, about the last time that this was, maybe not a, maybe it's not a let's say a match per se, but it's an angle disguised as a match, and this could be the same thing here, but. maybe just a lot more violent, a lot more nasty. So we'll wait and see. But obviously, Roman Reigns is retaining the Universal Champion. All right, y'all, that is it. It's only 5 matches they've announced. They were focused more on the draft than they was Hell in a Cell. So, that's one of the things that I think they really need to do. It's one of the reasons why I've said it before in the past, and I'll say it again. They need to, they need to cut down on the pay per view because, as you can see, they didn't have enough time to do all of this, to set this up. If they would have if they would do it the way that I would say they would do it, 6 per month, the pay per view would have been the first Saturday in October, and then they would have been, and they were able to do the draft and the season premiere and everything like that, and they would be working their way to the Survivor Series right now. But hopefully they will see the error of their ways, and they will change it and get rid of some of these. We don't need a pay per view every month. We really don't. So yeah. That we said again. Let's go over predictions. We had Otis retaining his Money in the Bank contract. The Miz, no, over the Miz. Jeff Hardy being Elias. Sasha Banks capturing the SmackDown Women's title over Bayley. Randy Orton claiming the WWE Championship over Drew McIntyre, and Roman Reigns retaining over Jay Uso in the Hell in a Cell AJTRIP match. So those are my predictions. Which comes down below to what you guys think. Any other matches that will be announced will not count towards any record. My record on the year is 66-27. I've done really good this year. So with 5 matches, we'll see how that goes from there. As always, y'all, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. I am out. Reminder, tomorrow night, after Hell in the Cell, Rapid Reaction, hit the notification bell. You're not going to want to miss it.